What if the fastest way to manifest your dream life isn't about working harder, but about becoming the person who already lives it? Imagine waking up tomorrow, not chasing success, not waiting for love, not fighting for health or abundance, but simply being the version of you who already has it all. That shift, that invisible transformation, is the real secret behind manifestation. It's not about doing more. It's about becoming more. Most people struggle for years trying to manifest because they're locked inside the old version of themselves. They want money, but they still see themselves as broke. They want love, but they still carry the identity of being unwanted. They want success, but deep down they still believe they are ordinary. Their actions, their choices, their emotions, all keep looping back to who they used to be, not who they want to become. And so, no matter how many affirmations they repeat or how many vision boards they create, life keeps reflecting the same identity back to them. This is where identity shifting comes in. At its core, identity shifting isn't pretending. It isn't faking it until you make it. It's embodying, taking on the mindset, the energy, the daily habits of the person who already has the results you want. It's stepping into the frequency of your future self, until your subconscious no longer sees it as a dream but as reality. When you live from this new identity, your external world begins to rearrange itself to match. Think about it. A person who identifies as wealthy doesn't constantly worry about bills. They make decisions from a place of confidence and possibility. A person who sees themselves as healthy doesn't try to exercise. They are the kind of person who takes care of their body naturally. A person who identifies as loved and worthy doesn't chase validation. They radiate self-assurance, and love is drawn to them effortlessly. A person who identifies as successful doesn't wait for permission. They move boldly, because their self-image demands it. Your identity is like the thermostat of your life. No matter what happens outside, it will always bring your reality back to match the setting you've programmed inside. And here's the fascinating part. Science and spirituality both point to the same truth. Neuroscience shows us that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you consistently signal a new identity, through thoughts, feelings, and habits, your brain wires it in as truth. Spiritually, this is the law of assumption. Whatever identity you embody, life mirrors back to you. That's why manifestation isn't just about asking, it's about aligning. Not wishing, but becoming. And once you understand how to shift your identity, the doors to money, love, health, and success stop being locked. They swing wide open. But here's the question. How do you actually step into this new version of you day after day? How do you stop slipping back into the old self and start living fully as the person who already has what you desire? That's where the real transformation begins. In part 1, we uncovered the secret behind manifestation. It's not about chasing or waiting. It's about becoming. Your results don't flow from what you wish for, but from who you are. Now let's go deeper. How do you actually shift into this new identity, not just once, but every single day? The answer is consistency. Identity doesn't change overnight. Just like a seed needs repeated sunlight and water to grow, your subconscious mind needs repeated signals of who you are becoming. Without consistency, your old patterns will always pull you back. But when you practice your new identity daily, even in small ways, you rewire your self-image, and soon it becomes your natural state. So, what are the daily practices that create this shift? Let's start with affirmations. Spoken with conviction, affirmations aren't empty words. They are commands to your subconscious. Saying, "I am wealthy" or "I am loved" isn't about pretending. It's about speaking from the identity you are stepping into. The key is repetition and emotion. When you feel the words, your mind begins to accept them as truth. Next comes visualization. Every day, close your eyes and see yourself living as your future self. Imagine walking into your dream home, holding the hand of your soulmate, receiving that job offer, or hearing your doctor confirm your perfect health. The more vivid the picture, the more your subconscious imprints it as reality. Visualization is rehearsal, and your brain wires it as if it already happened. Then there is scripting. This is the practice of writing your reality as though it has already unfolded. Each day, grab a journal and describe your life in the present tense of your future self. Today I wake up in total freedom. Money flows to me with ease. I feel healthy, strong, and confident. Writing crystallizes the new identity and makes it feel tangible. Another powerful tool is gratitude journaling. Gratitude shifts you into the frequency of abundance. When you give thanks, not just for what you already have, but for what is coming, You collapse the gap between desire and reality. Your subconscious doesn't argue with gratitude. It simply accepts it. And then, one of the most transformative practices of all, as if actions. Acting as if is not about faking, but about aligning your behavior with your new self. If you want wealth, how does the wealthy version of you carry themselves? Do they budget with fear, or do they make decisions with calm confidence? If you want love, how does the loved version of you treat themselves? Do they cling to validation, or do they radiate self-worth? Each small action becomes a signal to your subconscious. This is who I am now. Embodiment takes this even further. It's about carrying the posture, the tone of voice, the habits, and the energy of your future self. If your future self is a leader, then speak with clarity today. If your future self is healthy, then stand tall and breathe deeply today. If your future self is abundant, then dress in a way that makes you feel aligned with prosperity, even if it's just a simple but intentional choice. These signals matter more than we realize. Consider the person who wants wealth. They begin by straightening their posture, walking with confidence, and making decisions from abundance instead of fear. They might choose clothes that make them feel successful, even if inexpensive. They might begin tipping generously or investing in themselves. None of these actions guarantee instant millions, but together they rewire the identity. And once the identity changes, the results follow. The beauty is this: small shifts compound. A single affirmation may not change you. One journal entry may not rewrite your reality. But done daily, these practices stack, like bricks building a new foundation. Day by day, your old identity fades, and the new one takes its place. And then one morning, you wake up and realize you are no longer trying to become your future self. You simply are them. But here's the challenge. What happens when the old version of you tries to pull you back? What do you do when fear, doubt, or old habits resurface, trying to drag you into the identity you've outgrown? That's where the real test of identity begins. By now, you understand the daily practices that shape identity: affirmations, visualization, scripting, gratitude, and living as if. You know how small, consistent actions can shift your self-image and begin rewriting your reality. But here's the truth. Once you start stepping into your new self, the old self doesn't just disappear quietly. It resists. And that resistance is where the real growth begins. Doubts whisper. Fear creeps in. Old habits call you back to comfort. Maybe you've declared yourself abundant, but an unexpected bill arrives, and your mind wants to panic. Maybe you've affirmed love and worthiness, but someone rejects you, and your heart aches with old wounds. Maybe you've committed to health, but one stressful day pulls you back into the habits you swore you'd outgrow. This is resistance. It shows up as self-sabotage, procrastination, second-guessing, or the voice that says, "See? Nothing's changing." But here's the secret. Resistance doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're evolving. Just as a muscle shakes under new weight, your identity shakes when you push beyond the old limits. The key is awareness. Instead of falling into the trap, you pause and recognize, this is my old self trying to survive. Awareness alone loosens its grip. Then comes persistence. You keep showing up for the new identity, even when it feels uncomfortable. You remind yourself, this discomfort is proof that I am changing. And finally, reframing. Instead of seeing setbacks as signs you're stuck, see them as opportunities to reinforce the new you. Every challenge becomes a test, an invitation to choose the future self over the past one. But identity doesn't grow in isolation. The environments, people, and habits you surround yourself with either reinforce the old you or nourish the new one. If you want to lock in your future self, align your world around them. Spend time in places that make you feel abundant, even if it's just walking through a beautiful neighborhood. Surround yourself with people who see your potential, not your limitations. Create habits that reflect who you are becoming, not who you were. Every choice, every environment, every relationship becomes part of the mirror reflecting your new self back to you. And over time, something magical happens. What once felt like effort begins to feel natural. The affirmations that once felt like a stretch begin to feel like truth. The visualization that once felt like fantasy begins to feel like memory. The actions that once required courage begin to feel automatic. You are no longer trying to embody your new identity. You simply are it. This is how transformation locks in. Not through a single breakthrough, but through repeated alignment until the old self no longer fits. And when that moment comes, manifestation is no longer something you chase. It is simply the inevitable reflection of who you are. So here's your invitation: commit. Commit to the daily practice of identity shifting. Commit to showing up as the version of you who already has what you desire. Because when your identity changes, your reality has no choice but to follow. And remember this final truth. The moment you stop waiting to become your future self and start living as them today is the moment your reality has no choice but to catch up.